Hi everyone, I'm starting today's video at the ruins of Baconsthorpe Castle. The castle belonged to the Heydon family and they lived here for 200 years. They made their fortune from the law profession and later on from wool. This castle was their main residence in 1450. As their fortune grew, as did the size of the castle. Sadly, their fortunes were short-lived and they accumulated debts. They were forced to demolish parts of the castle in 1650 to sell as building materials. After the demolition of the main castle, the gatehouse was converted into a private house and was lived in until 1920, when one of the towers sadly collapsed. English Heritage are presently doing a large-scale programme of conservation. The nearby St Mary's Church contains tombs, memorials and stained glass showing the Heydon family coat of arms. Apparently, there are family connections to Henry VIII's second wife, Anne Boleyn, and the Gurneys, who were the founders of Barclays Bank. I don't think these are the correct tombs, but they are from the 1600s, so I've included them for being so old. This church has tubular bells. Don't think I've ever seen this before. After a lovely look round the church and signing the visitor's book, it's time to move on to the next place. I'm at Cley Mill and the tide is going out very fast. There has been a harbour here in Clyde since the 1200s and was once one of the busiest ports in England. Cley Mill stands right beside the harbour and was built in the early 19th century, and it belonged to the Farthing family. Time to move on again, but staying in Cley, and this time we are visiting the long-eared owl, who is just absolutely gorgeous. He's taken up residence in a local shop's garden, and so business is booming for them and the cafe next door, as people from miles around are travelling to visit him. He spends his days snoozing in the sunshine, and he's absolutely gorgeous. You may recall a couple of years ago I went and filmed one in Ormsby. I wonder if it's the same one. Who knows? Glandford Ford next, and not quite as busy and as popular as Rufford, which is has a ford, Rufford Ford. Lots of videos on YouTube about there, and you can only pass this ford if you're in a tractor or a Land Rover. Clearly a tractor has been through recently, as you can see the tyre marks, and something's lost part of its vehicle there, sadly. But it's very beautiful, tranquil sight here. The bridge for pedestrians. The sound of the water was beautiful, but it was windy, so I've, as always, had to take the original sound out. But stunning. So if you're in North Norfolk, do pay it a visit. I think you'll be surprised how lovely it is here. And in fact, it's so lovely that there's a bench that you can just sit on and listen to the birds. The location is right beside this field and that church. And I was just looking at those tyre or tracks in the field and suddenly spotted a buzzard. I presume it's a buzzard. Feel free to correct me. I did get something wrong in the last video, didn't I? I said Buick geese, not Buick swans. So thank you, Mr. Phil, for correcting me and putting me right. I never mind when people tell me I've made mistakes. I do make mistakes quite often, more often than I should. Anyway, we've left the buzzard and we've moved on again and spotted this deer just having a stroll through the reed bed. He's got a couple of friends with him, a couple of pheasants. So once he went into the reeds and we couldn't see him, we thought we'd drive along and see if he'd come through the other side, not knowing that there was a dyke and he couldn't get through. Anyway, where we parked was this little Shetland pony in a field. He was quite amusing because he or she only liked the men in the group, but didn't like us females, and he was going to bite me. He was definitely going to bite me. But of course, everybody else had the lovely luscious green grass, and he quite enjoyed that. So, yes, again, we've moved on, and we are now at Cley. Again, still in Clyde. It's a day of Clyde. Lots to do here. It's a fabulous place. And we're back at the bird hides, having a look out and seeing what is about. And there was so many different birds, geese, ducks here today. Hundreds of lapwing. When the marsh harrier or the buzzard flies over, they all go up in the air. So, lots to watch. The pintails enjoy doing their synchronised swimming. The black and white ones are avocets, and the white and brown one with the black head is a shuffler. You're going to see lots of these pintail because I just keep watching them. They're so pretty. The lapwing were just spooked and had to take off and fly around, and they're just landing again. The lapwing are very pretty birds. Really, all the birds, geese, ducks, they're all beautiful in their own way, aren't they? These are shell duck. They look very similar to the shoveler, I know, and I do sometimes get them wrong, but not today, I don't think. The avocets again, spending more time under the water than above it. Looking for something to eat, as always. Any second this bird is going to go down, and it's obviously seen something, and you watch how a white bird comes along at speed and flushes it out and gets rid of it. Look at that. Isn't that brilliant? So he's now off, but in the process has upset the lapwing. So they're all now going up in the sky again. This is just how we go on. 1 minute they're all in the water, the next they're all flying around in the sky. There's a little tiny piece of green on this duck's feather at the back, so I'm going to say it's a teal, okay? But not its head, but look at its body, the camouflage with the bank. That's amazing, isn't it? Shower duck is having a preen, getting every single feather into place. It's Saturday today, so there are lots of people here. We're all looking at the same thing. Hundreds of geese are just landing up on the top marsh, so I think we're now going to drive up there and see if we can get a closer look. I imagine they're Brent geese. So we're now up fairly close to where the geese landed, and the bird hides on the left are the ones I was looking across to. You can't actually see the bird hide I was actually in, but that's the visitor centre, and the bird hides where I showed you the people looking out with their binoculars. So here they all are. Some are hidden, where the tufts of grass are longer, taller than they are. And there's more flying in. Now watch how they land. So the first ones go down, and then the next ones to land in front of those, and then the next ones in front of those, and so it goes on. So they all get their little landing spot. It's very clever, isn't it? Clyde Mill over in the distance, and a skylark right in front of me. It runs quickly from one molehill to the next, so I've cut out the fast running bit that I can't keep up with, and I'm just showing you once it's got to the next molehill. I think that's called cheating. To film the geese and this skylark, I've had to come right up to the beach area, the car park there. And that reminded me when I looked out to sea that when I was at the visitor centre earlier, I filmed a ship from there going past. I'm almost at the end of this video, but before I go, I'd like to thank 4 people who have donated through the Super Thanks button, which YouTube automatically put on. It's not something I've done. So thank you to Jules, to Andrew, and to Sarah and Ben for all contributing to the future making of my videos. Also, I'd like to thank all my new subscribers that I've had this last couple of weeks. Hello to all of you and thank you for joining. If you've enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up. I hope you're all having a lovely weekend. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be back again very soon. Bye for now.